Hey, and welcome to this episode of Match Betting Uncovered, brought to you by ProfitDuel.
It is really great to be here.
I was just thinking the other day about how human beings are just completely hardwired for efficiency. Like,
Yeah.
we are absolutely obsessed with it.
Oh, yeah, we definitely are.
Right. And if there is a way to do something faster or, with less effort and potentially get the exact same result or even a better result, we are going to take that path every single time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's why we have self-checkout at the grocery store. It's why we read summaries of books instead of the whole thing. And honestly, it's probably why a lot of people get drawn into match betting in the first place, myself included.
Oh, absolutely. The entire premise of match betting is efficiency. It's about taking the randomness out of gambling.
Hmm.
You take the gamble out of it and you turn it into a systematic mathematical process.
Hmm.
It's smart. You know it's optimizing your time for guaranteed profit.
Exactly. But today we are going to look at a strategy that takes that natural desire for efficiency and kind of ramps it up to a potentially dangerous level.
Yeah, it really does.
It's a concept that sounds on the surface like the ultimate cheat code. We are talking about stacking or combining offers, and the idea is pretty simple. Like, if one sportsbook promotion is good, surely playing two of them against each other at the exact same time is better. It feels like a total no-brainer.
Right. It feels like double dipping in the best possible way.
Exactly, double dipping.
And it is incredibly intuitive.
Mm.
You know, you see free money over here on Sportsbook A, and you see free money over there on Sportsbook B, and your brain just naturally wants to smash them together
Yeah.
so you can clear them both at once. It honestly feels like you have found a glitch in the matrix.
I love that. A glitch in the matrix.
And this is a pretty big, but my role today is to be the one to pump the brakes a little bit.
I had a feeling you were going to be the voice of reason on this deep dive.
Somebody has to be right. Because while it sounds like the ultimate efficiency hack stacking is actually one of those things that looks amazing on paper, but it can get really messy and really expensive in practice, it adds this whole layer of complexity that quite often hurts your bottom line rather than helping it. It's not just about whether you can do it, it's about whether you should.
And that is exactly what we are going to unpack today for you guys. We are basing this deep dive on a really comprehensive article from our own site from ProfitDuel. It was put together by team member Adam Leach, and it was fact-checked by Monica Kazimierczak. So it's basically an internal investigation into this exact topic. Does this popular tactic actually hold up to scrutiny, or is it a giant trap?
And you really have to give credit to Adam and Monica here because they didn't just look at the math in a vacuum. They looked at the practical reality of managing these accounts and the real long-term impact on your profitability.
So let's start at the very beginning. When we say stacking or combining offers, what does that actually look like out in the wild? Because I think most people understand the basic match betting concept. You place a bet at a sports book and you lay it off at an exchange, or you hedge it at another book to cover all outcomes. How is stacking strictly different from that normal process?
So standard match betting, like you said, is usually one promotion versus a clean line. And by clean, I mean standard odds with absolutely no strings attached.
Yeah.
You only have one variable, which is the promo. The other side is just the open market. Stacking involves strategically using a promotion from one sportsbook alongside a completely different promotion from a second sportsbook.
Okay, so it's promo versus promo.
Precisely. Instead of hedging a bonus bet against a normal market, you are hedging one bonus against another bonus. You are basically trying to use the funds or the incentives from Book A to cover the exact risk required to unlock the incentives of Book B.
Okay, let's make this concrete for everyone listening. Can we walk through the specific example from the article? I really want to make sure you can visualize these mental gymnastics.
Sure, let's paint a picture. So imagine you have a bonus bet, which is sometimes called a free bet from Sportsbook A. This could be a sign-up offer, or maybe it's just a reload offer for existing customers. Now, normally you would go find a match on a standard line to convert that bonus into real cash. But you also see that Sportsbook B has a deposit match offer, or maybe a no-sweat bet, which is basically a risk-free bet.
Okay, I see where this is going. So you are holding a free bet in one hand and a risk-free bet in the other hand.
Exactly. And the sacker looks at this and thinks, okay, well, I need to place a cash bet to trigger the bonus on Book B,
Yeah.
and I have this free bet credit sitting over on Book A. So why don't I just bet on the Chiefs to win on Book A and then bet on the Chiefs to lose on Book B?
And the goal there is obviously to create a totally balanced scenario where you profit regardless of who wins that game, but you've theoretically cleared or converted two bonuses with that single sporting event.
That is the goal. You are trying to kill two birds with one stone.
Which sounds amazing. I mean, who doesn't want to kill two birds with one stone? Metaphorically speaking, of course. We love birds at ProfitDuel.
We do love birds.
Yeah.
But here is the major nuance that people miss when they try this. Sports books aren't all built on the same chassis. Not all promotions stack seamlessly. You're essentially trying to fit a square peg into a round hole sometimes.
Because the rules are different, right?
Right. Different sports books have different terms, different trigger requirements, and wildly different conditions on how the winnings are actually paid out to you.
So it's not just a simple matter of get on the winner and bet on the loser. It's more like bet on the winner, but first check if the minimum odds requirement is met, and then check if the payout is in cash or site credit, and then check if this specific market is even eligible for the promo in the first place.
Exactly. You are doubling the fine print you have to navigate.
Right.
And if you get just one single piece of that wrong, the entire stack collapses.
Okay, so I want to play devil's advocate here for a second, because despite that complexity, people do this. I see people talking about it in forums and Discord channels all the time. There has to be an allure to it. And honestly speaking, for the lazy part of my brain, the biggest pro seems to be simply doing less.
That is the primary driver. Laziness.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the most efficient, positive way possible. We all want to do less work for more money. Fewer bets equal less work. If you can clear 2 bonuses with 1 pair of bets, you are minimizing the physical time you spend clicking buttons, logging into accounts, and managing the whole process.
So it's about streamlining your workflow.
It is. If you treat matched betting strictly as a time in, money out equation stacking, it looks like it massively improves your hourly rate.
And there's also the perspective of the beginner, right? We often call our listener profile the learner. If you are just starting out, you might not have a massive bankroll. You might only have $500 or $1,000 to play with total.
That is a really important point to bring up. If you have limited capital, or maybe you only have access to a few sports books in your specific state, stacking feels like you are maximizing those limited resources because you don't have enough cash to float the hedges for 5 different offers completely separately.
Right, because normally you need money sitting in the exchange. You need money in book A. You need money in book B. It ties up all your liquidity.
Exactly. So combining them feels like a smart way to stretch your dollar further. You are essentially making the sports books fund each other's hedges.
It feels like brilliant resource management. You're sitting there thinking, I have this asset here and I have this asset here. Let's combine them and be super efficient.
It feels very clever. It feels like you have found a loophole that makes the most of a small bankroll.
So if it saves time and it theoretically helps beginners with small bankrolls, why are we waving a massive caution flag today? Why did Adam and the team feel the need to write an article saying, whoa, slow down?
Because when they actually crunched the numbers and looked at the long-term results of doing this, the findings were pretty stark. Stacking often leads to less money, not more.
Wait, less money. But you're getting 2 bonuses at the same time. That seems completely counterintuitive.
You are getting 2 bonuses, but you have to ask yourself at what cost. And this is where we get into the concept of opportunity cost. This is the part that usually goes right over people's heads until they actually sit down and see the math. When you force 2 offers to match against each other, you completely lose the ability to shop for the best odds.
Okay, unpack that for me. Walk me through the math of why line shopping matters so much.
Okay, so in standard match betting, if I have a bonus bet on book A, I can look at book B, book C, book D, and in exchange to find the absolute perfect mathematical match. I am looking for a match that allows me to retain 80 or 90% of that bonus value. I have the entire open market to choose from.
Right, you are a free agent. You go wherever the numbers are best for you.
Exactly. But if I decide I absolutely must stack that bonus bet against a specific offer on book B, say that no sweat bet we talked about earlier, I am forced to take whatever odds book B is giving me on that specific game.
Even if they are terrible odds.
Even if they're absolutely terrible. If book B has a huge margin on the opposite side of that game, or if the line has moved against you, I have to take it anyway just because I need to trigger that specific bonus right then and there.
So you are basically eating a massive qualifying loss or a really bad conversion rate just to make the puzzle pieces fit together.
Precisely. You might be saving 5 minutes of time, but you might be paying for it with $10, $20, or $30 of last profit margin because you accepted a bad match. Over time, that adds up significantly. If you do that 10 times a month, you have just thrown away hundreds of dollars of pure profit just to save yourself a little bit of clicking.
That makes total sense. You are literally paying for convenience with your profit margins. It's kind of like buying your groceries at the gas station instead of going to the actual supermarket.
Yeah.
It's way faster, but you are paying a massive premium for the milk.
That is a perfect analogy. You are paying the convenience store markup on your bets.
But the article mentioned another downside that I really hadn't even thought about before reading it. It's the VIP problem. What exactly is that?
So this is a bit more advanced, but it is crucial for anyone who wants to do this for more than just a month or two. Sportsbooks absolutely love volume. They track how much you bet. And if you hit certain turnover thresholds, you get VIP status.
And VIP status isn't just a shiny digital badge, right? It actually means more money in your pocket.
Oh, it is tangible monetary value. You get enhanced promos, deposit matches that regular users never even see, faster withdrawals, and personalized support. But to get there, you need turnover. You need to place a certain volume of bets.
And stacking hurts that turnover.
It cuts your volume right in half. Think about it. If you do offer A and offer B completely separately, you are placing 4 bets in total. You have 2 promos and 2 separate hedges. That is a lot more money flowing through your accounts. But if you stack them, you are only placing 2 bets. You are consolidating your volume.
So by trying to be super efficient, you are actually signaling to the sportsbook algorithm that you are a low-volume, low-value player.
Exactly. Diversifying your bets across platforms helps hit those VIP targets. Consolidating them via stacking can actually severely hurt your standing with the books. You might save 10 minutes today, but miss out on a massive VIP reload offer next month because the algorithm flagged you as a low-value customer.
That is a fascinating trade-off. It's short-term efficiency versus long-term value. You're literally tripping over dollars to pick up pennies.
And we can't forget the whole research requirement that we touched on earlier. The main argument for stacking is that it saves time. But does it really?
I'm guessing you are going to say no, it does not.
If you do it right, absolutely not. To stack safely, you have to obsessively compare the terms and conditions of both offers at the same time. Does Book A require the bet to settle within 7 days? Does Book B require minimum odds of plus 200? Does Book avoid the bet if the game ends in a push? You basically have to act as a compliance lawyer for 2 different companies simultaneously.
And if you miss one tiny detail hidden in paragraph 4,
The whole stack collapses. So the time you thought you saved by not placing a second hedge, bet you just spent squinting at fine print. It negates the time-saving argument entirely.
let's talk about that collapse. Let's talk about the real risks. Because it's not just about making slightly less money or wasting time. It's about potentially making huge mathematical mistakes. The expert consensus seems to be that stacking introduces a major complexity trap.
It does. For a beginner, just navigating one set of T&Cs is hard enough. 2 sets simultaneously is a total recipe for error. And there's one specific disaster scenario that the article really highlights. It is the no-sweat disaster.
The no-sweat disaster. That sounds incredibly ominous. This sounds like something we really need to warn people about. Break that down for me.
It is probably one of the most common mistakes people make when they try to stack. And it stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of what a refund actually is in the sportsbook world. So they take a no-sweat bet, which is a bet where if you lose, you get your stake back as a bonus bet on Book A, and they hedge it against a no-sweat bet on Book B.
On the surface, to a beginner, that sounds like absolute genius. You think, I can't lose. If Team A wins, I win real cash. If Team B wins, I get a refund. I am bulletproof.
But you don't get a cash refund. You get a bonus bet refund.
Hmm?
And this is the critical distinction that trips everyone up. A bonus bet is not cash. A bonus bet is usually only worth about 70 to 80% of its cash value once you actually go through the process of converting it.
Right, because the original stake isn't returned on a bonus bet win. You only keep the profit.
Exactly. So if you stack 2 no-sweat bets against each other, one of them is going to lose. That is a mathematical certainty, which means you are totally guaranteed to be left with a bonus bet that is mathematically worth less than your original cash stake.
Oh, I see it now. You have essentially guaranteed yourself a loss from the jump. You have locked in a scenario where you are trading hard cash for a site credit that is inherently worth less than cash.
Exactly right. You are mathematically guaranteeing a decline in your account value. You put in $100 of real cash, and you get back something that is roughly worth $75. It is a terrible strategy, but people do it all the time because they hear the phrase risk-free and they immediately think cash refund. It significantly reduces your potential profit. In fact, it just destroys profit entirely.
That is a massive red flag. Okay, so We've bashed stacking pretty hard here. We've laid out all the reasons why it's a trap. But let's say I am in a serious bind. I have expiring offers, my bankroll is completely tied up in other games, and I absolutely have to stack to get these bets down before midnight. Is there a quote-unquote safe way to do it?
If your hand is forced, and I mean really forced, where you have no other option, there is one combination that the team at ProfitDuel says is acceptable. Not highly recommended, but acceptable.
Go on. What is the one loophole?
You can hedge a risk-free or no-sweat bet with a site credit deposit match.
Okay, why does that specific combination work when the others fail?
Because a deposit match usually gives you the bonus funds up front or with very loose playthrough requirements. You are using the safe money from the deposit match to hedge the actual risk of the no-sweat bet. It's safer math because those deposit match funds usually act much more like real cash. But again, it is still tricky. You still run into the issue of finding good odds that work for both platforms.
So the real headline here is just don't do it unless you basically have a gun to your head.
Basically, yes. Don't try to be too clever.
Which brings us really nicely to the verdict. I want to get the official stamp from the ProfitDuel team on this. We have looked at the mechanics, we've looked at the pros, the cons, and the very real risks. What is the bottom line for you listening?
The bottom line from the team is unequivocal. Keep it simple. We do not recommend combining offers.
It's just not worth the headache.
It is not. The entire philosophy at ProfitDuel is that consistent profit should be made simple. Stacking adds totally unnecessary complexity. It takes a straightforward mathematical process and turns it into a high-wire act where one mistake costs you money.
I love that phrase. Consistent profit made simple. It's almost like trying to be too clever is the enemy of actually being wealthy.
It really is. Instead of trying to be a mad scientist down in your basement mixing volatile chemicals, Mixing Promotions just use the dedicated tools that are built for this.
And we have plenty of those on the site ready to go.
We do. We have the Dutch Matcher, we have the specific calculators, we have the step-by-step training guides. The entire platform is designed to take you from a complete beginner to earning consistent monthly profits without having to guess. We have software that literally finds the perfect matches for you, so you don't ever have to force a bad match between two bonuses. You can just find the best mathematical match for each one individually and take the full profit.
And for anyone listening who's thinking, okay, you guys convinced me maybe I should stop stacking and start doing this properly, we actually have a pretty incredible offer for new members right now, don't we?
We do. It is actually mentioned right in the article we've been discussing today. You can start a full trial of the platform for just $1 for the first week.
$1. That is less than a cup of coffee. That's less than a candy bar these days, honestly.
One single dollar. And in that very first week, we have included a welcome offer strategy that is specifically designed to bank you around $100 when you convert it properly. So you pay $1, you follow the simple guide, and you make $100. It's a pretty fantastic ROI to get started.
And the goal isn't just to make that first $100 and walk away, right?
No, that is just the appetizer. That's just to prove to you that the system actually works.
Yeah.
The real goal is to have you join the members who are earning thousands of dollars monthly through standard lower-risk methods. It's about building a reliable, sustainable side hustle, not just hitting one lucky stack and hoping for the best.
That really resonates with me. It is the fundamental difference between a get-rich-quick scheme and a get-rich-reliably system. Stacking feels like a scheme, standard matched betting is a system.
That is a really perfect way to put it.
Before we wrap up today, I want to zoom out just a little bit because we've been very specific about matched betting and sports books today, but there is a bigger lesson here about how we approach problems in general.
I think so too. It brings us right back to that core idea of optimization versus complication. In the data world, and especially in finance, there is this natural human tendency to think that if a strategy is more complex, it just must be more profitable. Like if I have a spreadsheet with 1,000 tabs and complicated formulas, I must be smarter making more money than the guy with the simple notepad.
The complex equals smart fallacy.
Exactly. But in reality, complexity often just introduces more points of failure. Stacking is complex. It feels smart. It feels like you are outsmarting the system and pulling one over on the sports books. But the boring route doing offers one by one, methodically, taking the easy, straightforward profits is actually the path to the highest EV or expected value. Sometimes being boring is the absolute most profitable thing you can be.
I think be boring, get rich might just be my new personal motto.
It is not the catchiest slogan in the world, but it definitely works.
I love it. Well, that has been a truly fascinating look into the weeds of sportsbook promos and the math behind them. I know I am definitely going to think twice before I try to double dip next time. Glad to hear it. Just stick to the plan and keep it simple.
That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.